Behold, the ancient Roman ruin that is known as the Pont du Gard. This is very important because this is one of the better preserved pieces of ancient Roman engineering in all of Europe. But what was it used for? And what was its purpose? Well, let's find out. And let's walk across the bridge in front of the bridge in order to enjoy the views. I'm Ariel, this is Urbanist. Let me know where you're watching from, and let's go. Welcome everyone to the Pont du Gard here in Provence, France. Provence is towards the south of France. It's the region that people like to call, along with the Côte d'Azur, the south of France. But this was a key to one of the more famous cities in the south of France. But for that, we have to go back to the time of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar ended up doing a military campaign unlike history has seen until that point. He ended up conquering a land with millions of people, the ancient Gauls, the Celts. This entire realm used to be known as Gaul, according to the ancient Romans. And the vast land of Gaul, which is modern-day France, he ended up integrating it into the kingdom, into the empire. And with subsequent rulers, they decided to make Nimes the capital. But Nimes was lacking a fresh water source. So this was the solution. Building a huge aqueduct system of 50 kilometers long, and then a part of the overall aqueduct system across the entire empire in order to provide fresh water. This was built on a perfect slope, which is in itself very impressive. So let's get across to the bridge. We can walk downstairs, but let's go upstairs to the bridge first. So hello everyone, slam that like button if you're enjoying these videos. We see people swimming there. Lots of people swimming all around. Wendy says it's awesome. Yeah. Hello, Ron. Nice to see you here. Hello, Roy. Welcome. Connie. Let me know exactly where you're watching from. What are you doing? Are you sitting in bed on your couch viewing me on your 120-inch screen? Are you at the cinema exhibiting this live video to a lot of people illegally? Are you doing transcendental meditation to the soothing sounds of my voice? Are you walking your dog while holding the phone? Let me know. Wendy says, let's go for a dip. Oh, that sounds good about now. It's so hot. Sun is beaming. And look at this. Wow. Wendy's at the sofa station. Wow. 50 meters high this is. That's more than 160 feet tall. By far the tallest Roman bridge. This was built to have a river, basically a flying river. A river that flew over another river. This river, right down there, was impeding on the aqueduct system. And they couldn't stop the slope. It's not like modern aqueducts where they can build a pumping station. No, they had to maintain a perfect slope of only a few centimeters down every 1 kilometer. That's how small the slope was, in order to maintain a perfect flow of water. Now, the bridge we're walking through right now is actually not part of the Roman aqueduct system. This was installed, the first iteration at least, was back in the 1700s. It was in order to provide a flow of traffic and not to impede on the bridge anymore, on the aqueduct. Roy says, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. See a piece of ancient Roman history right over here. And right down there, we see more structure. Roy's watching from a foggy San Francisco. Connie with the coffee at the computer. Ron is watching the multiverse. Nice. Ooh, it's windy. Now we're starting to feel those mistral winds. The wants very fiercely. Dominic, you're watching on the break. Oh, cool, Dominic. Wow, there's a lot of security guards right there. I was about to like hop over here and just touch it, but there's so much security, so maybe a little bit later. I'm not sure why they're all here. Let me show you the Maria, welcome. Ooh. I think there would be wind because I was just a few steps away and there was no wind. It just came on right now. Ooh, someone left graffiti from 1895. And there's some graffiti that's even older. Susie asked, am I going for a dip? No. But it is tempting. Don't have enough time. Wow. Is this an organized trip across the from Avignon, Provence? The one is a full day trip. This is the last stop though. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. Maria says I'm looking. Wow. Yeah, so sorry about the wind. It was completely still once I was there, and then suddenly the wind came now. So you're probably not hearing me too. Enjoy the views nonetheless. party. Look at that. The Tooster says, I'm waiting for a deep philosophical dive on how to organize such a trip. Yeah, towards the end of my trip, let me know if you want a live video. I'll host a Q&A. You can ask me anything on Urbanist Day, which is September 7th. You can ask me anything about organizing the trip. Wendy asked, did I end up getting another hat? No. You know, I finished my live video from the last trip about a minute before I had to get back into my tour bus. I was the last one back to the tour bus. The water looks so inviting, says Maria. It really does. It's gorgeous clear water. Ooh, 1839. Look at this. Wow. 1839. Wow. So it's very evident here that you can see during the era of Napoleon III, he was a huge fan of ancient Rome, kind of loved to equate himself to Emperor Augustus, which many of these structures were built under the auspices of Emperor Augustus, under Agrippa, who's known as one of the greater engineers, or at least the guys who ran the engineering projects of ancient Roman history. But by the time of Napoleon III, he fancied himself to be the next Augustus for the French Empire, because he became the last emperor of France. So he ended up visiting this area, and he put on a decree in order to fix a lot of the stones that were falling off, in order to replace some of the stones, replace, I think, the thing that binds the stones together. There was a lot of work that came into here. And then later on, it became also a tourist destination. So people end up coming here in droves. And as we can see with all the graffiti, a lot of the graffiti here is from the mid-1800s. Marina says, river rafting seems pretty great. We are at the Pont de Gard, an ancient Roman aqueduct. Yeah, that's right, Roy. Thank you so much for letting people know. Alfred from Canada, welcome. Let's build a sandcastle, says Wendy. Yeah. Sue says, Sue says, how do you know all of this? Sue, I just make it up as I go. Whatever sounds right. Just blur it out. Washington Irving. A lot of people. What Christopher some kind of mythical quality. Bad service down there. So Christopher Columbus holds a mythical quality in America, and it's not because of real history. It's because Washington Irving literally made up a biography of Washington Irving, a lot of these wonderful places. No, I end the. That's how I know this stuff. I use the power of my eyes and the power of my mind in order to read and then memorize. Voila! That's how it all comes together. Or you can make stuff up. Unless if I tell you that I am. Actually reads books, yeah. Wow. I have the memory of a red fish, says Sue, so I'm impressed. Thank you, Sue. Alfred says, Ariel's a walking encyclopedia. Well, I read before making these videos. Sometimes right before, like this one, right before. And then other times I have researched for a long time. But I know a lot about ancient Rome, just in general, because I've covered Rome quite significantly. So I know about Marcus Agrippa and Augustus and Napoleon III because I covered Paris significantly. So I know a lot of that already, aside from reading about the Pont du Gard specifically. So right there, ladies and gentlemen, that was a Pont du Gard. There's not much else to see aside from the swimming portion. Gorgeous sight. Truly, truly a gorgeous sight. Hey Mika, nice to see you here. Roy says, please remember to gently caress that like button. Yes, please, ladies and gentlemen. If you're enjoying this live video, gently caress that softly. Softly caress it, just softly. There we go. Let me know if you softly caress that like button. So it's amazing. One of the biggest parts of the engineering is that they built this specifically on the slope every 1 kilometer. And by down, it allowed the water not to go too fast, which meant overflowing. It allowed the water not to go too slow, which meant it could have been stagnant. The wind is messing up with the live stream, but it didn't allow it to go too stagnant. So the problem is if it gets clogged up and starts getting stagnant, or the water's flowing too slowly, it allows mosquitoes to lay their eggs. If mosquitoes lay their eggs, it allows them to. It allows disease to. The empire would be very bad news. The Antonine plague much later, and the Justinian plague as well. However, this was made so well that it would provide clean drinking water, which is ingenious to basically recreate what nature does best, which is letting the water smoothly flow down. And when the water flows down, that allows the rocks to, in essence, clean. Just magical. Wendy says, has your hat blown off? Yeah, it's somewhere down there. No, luckily I have it over here. But yeah, it is very windy. The reasons Provence is already so makes Provence to be 300 days of the year sunny, which is amazing. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This was the Pont du Gard here. It's free to come in. Of course, you got to pay for parking though. But it is a lovely, lovely ancient Roman site to see in person and to behold. And there's probably a better view down there, which I'll see a little bit later. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. If you want to see bonus content, patreon.com/urbanist. And if you enjoyed these live videos, you can leave a single contribution, paypal.me/Ariel Vieira. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring from Provence, France. Au revoir, mes amis.